Have you ever wondered where your help comes from when you are in dire straits? Imagine a world where divine assistance is just a prayer away. A world where Psalm 121 is not just a chapter in the Holy Bible, but a beacon of hope and a promise of divine help. In this video, we are going to unearth the profound wisdom encapsulated within this psalm, peeling back its layers to reveal its comforting message. Well, today we dive deep into Psalm 121, a beacon of hope and assurance of divine help. Psalm 121, a song of ascents, is a powerful piece of scripture that provides comfort and assurance. Often referred to as the traveler's psalm, it is a beacon of hope and faith for those embarking on a journey, physical or spiritual. The psalm, encompassing 8 verses, is a profound dialogue between a man and his soul, a soliloquy of trust in the divine. The first 2 verses pose a question and an answer. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. This sets the tone for the entire psalm, acknowledging the omnipotence of God as the ultimate source of help. The succeeding verses, 3 to 6, emphasize the unwavering and constant protection provided by God. They portray God as a vigilant guardian who neither slumbers nor sleeps, shielding us from the daytime sun and the nocturnal moon. The last 2 verses, 7 and 8, offer a comforting conclusion, promising the Lord's continual guidance and protection in all aspects of life, both now and forevermore. Together, these 8 verses of Psalm 121 weave a tapestry of divine assurance, echoing the timeless message that God's care is unending and all-encompassing. It's a psalm that resonates with the human yearning for safety, sustenance, and serenity under the aegis of a caring, watchful God. Now let's delve into each verse and unpack its message. Scene script. Starting with verse 1, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. In this opening verse of Psalm 121, the psalmist is not merely admiring the beauty of the hills. It's a metaphorical expression, a visual representation of looking upward and beyond the immediate circumstances. The hills here symbolize something much greater, something divine. Relating this to our lives, it's about looking beyond our own abilities, our own strength, and our own wisdom. Instead, we lift our eyes to something higher, to God, acknowledging that our help comes from Him. Moving on to verse 2, my help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. Here, the psalmist is asserting with certainty where his help comes from. He recognizes that his help comes not from the hills, not from earthly places or beings, but from the Lord. And not just any Lord, but the Lord who is the creator of heaven and earth. The psalmist is declaring that his help comes from the all-powerful, all-knowing, and ever-present God who created everything that exists. What's fascinating about these 2 verses is the progression from question to assertion. Verse 1 begins with a question, a contemplation, from whence cometh my help? And verse 2 provides the answer, my help cometh from the Lord. This is not a question anymore, but a statement of faith, a declaration of dependence on God. These verses are comforting because they assure us that we are not alone in our struggles. They remind us that our help comes from the Lord, who is always there, ready to assist us. They encourage us to look beyond our circumstances, to lift our eyes to the hills, and to recognize that our help comes from the Lord. These verses set the tone for the entire psalm, acknowledging God as our ultimate helper. They invite us to trust in God's providence, to depend on His strength, and to rest in His care. They assure us that in every situation, in every challenge, we have a helper, the creator of heaven and earth. And that is a comforting, empowering truth. Moving on to verses 3 and 4, He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. As we delve into these lines, we're reminded of the ceaseless vigilance that God promises us. This is not a passive, fleeting attention, but rather an active, enduring watchfulness. Imagine, if you will, a parent watching over a sleeping child. The parent does not merely glance over the child now and then. Instead, they maintain an unwavering focus, ready to provide care and protection at any moment. This is the kind of vigilance that God promises us. The first part of the verse, He will not suffer thy foot to be moved, is a testament to God's promise of stability and support. It brings to mind the image of a steady rock, a firm foundation that will not shift under our feet. This is a comforting reassurance, especially in times of change and uncertainty. The second part of the verse, He that keepeth thee will not slumber, further emphasizes God's ceaseless watchfulness. It's a powerful reminder that God is not a distant, detached entity. He is actively involved in our lives, always alert and attentive to our needs. He does not slumber nor sleep. His watchful eyes are always upon us, These verses do more than just assure us of God's protection. They also challenge us to trust in God's promises, to lean on Him for support, and to find comfort in His presence. They urge us to let go of our worries and fears, and to rest in the knowledge that we are under His watchful care. These verses beautifully illustrate God's constant watchfulness over us. They remind us that we are never alone, that God is always with us, providing us with protection and stability. Even in the darkest hours, we can find solace in the promise of His unceasing vigilance. So let us take heart from these words and find strength in the assurance of God's unwavering care for us. Now let's explore verses 5 to 8. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. These verses are a potent reminder of God's steadfast assurance of protection. The phrase, "The Lord is thy keeper," signifies that God is our guardian, watching over us with unwavering vigilance. He is not a distant, detached deity, but rather a close, caring protector. This powerful imagery can provide comfort, particularly during challenging times when we feel most vulnerable. "The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand" is another vivid metaphor. In the ancient world, the right hand was considered the hand of power and action. So the idea of God being our shade on our right hand implies that He is our defense, sheltering us from harm. He's not just a passive observer, but actively involved in our lives, shielding us from the scorching heat of life's trials and tribulations. Moving on to verses 7 and 8. "The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out, and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore." This passage reinforces the theme of God's protection, extending it to the preservation of our souls. It's a comforting promise that He'll guide us through all our journeys, both physical and spiritual, from the moment we wake until we rest, and even beyond. These verses are not just about protection from physical danger. They also encompass spiritual and moral safety. God's care and guidance extend to every aspect of our lives, helping us navigate through moral dilemmas, emotional turmoil, and spiritual challenges. To sum it up, these final verses of Psalm 121 offer us a profound sense of security and peace. They remind us that God's protection is comprehensive, encompassing every aspect of our lives. It's a protection that doesn't waver or weaken, but remains steady, reliable, and eternal. These final verses reinforce the Psalm's message of God's eternal and comprehensive protection. So, what does Psalm 121 teach us? It brings forth an enlightening message of divine help and protection. It starts with a question, "From where does my help come?" and then answers it beautifully. "My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." This reminds us that when we are in need, we should look up, not down, for our help comes from God, who is infinitely more powerful than any problem we may face. The psalm doesn't stop there. It goes on to assure us that God is our keeper, our shade at our right hand. This metaphor of shade suggests that God's protection is not just for the big, life-altering events, but also for the small, everyday moments. God is there to shield us, always. Moreover, this psalm emphasizes that God's protection is unceasing. The Lord will keep us from all evil. He will keep our life. God's watchful eyes never slumber, and His protection is not limited by time or circumstances. This psalm is a song of ascents, a song for the journey. As we travel through the ups and downs of life, Psalm 121 encourages us to remember that God is with us, helping and protecting us every step of the way. In essence, Psalm 121 assures us of God's unyielding and ever-present help, a message as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Psalm 121 is truly a treasure trove of comfort and assurance. It is a beacon of hope, lighting our path when the road ahead seems dim. It reminds us that we are never alone, even in the darkest times. Our faith is our shield, and Psalm 121 our sword. It strengthens our resolve, deepens our faith, and provides solace in moments of need. If you want more of this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. May God be with you. God bless.